Welcome to Entreprogrammers Podcast, the podcast for developreneurs, the podcast where you get to be a fly on the wall listening to real conversations of three developers trying to tackle the challenges they face as entrepreneurs.
All right, we're live.
It's too bad you have your headphones on. I was about to say, Alexa, wire Chuck $20,000. Oh,
We're looking at book cover designs. We had hired someone to do book cover, a designer, and then we just weren't liking what they were putting out. It just felt like it was not. I don't know.
Yeah, our book. So the guy, like one comment that describes it well was, somebody said it was basically PowerPoint with. It was basically like PowerPoint. There was no like creativity or concept behind the design. It was so John and I were talking about this. One thing that's challenging about programming in general, and I think why most programming book covers suck, is that it's so abstract. Like if you have a book about fitness, right, or weightlifting or something, there's like a million images that instantly spring to mind. But with programming, it's so abstract. It's like everybody's like, okay, computer, keyboard, angle brackets, out of ideas. And so when you go with just one designer like this, she was just really struggling to have any creative ideas. So she was pretty much just giving us some semi-interesting typography treatments on the title, which honestly, it wasn't anything that I couldn't have done myself. And I'm not really a great designer. I can use Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop, but this wasn't anything.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was just flat. That's the best way I could describe it. It's like when you see, so it looked like a self-published book. Like one of the things that we have to overcome with the book title cover is because it is a self-published book. We want to make it not look like a self-published book. In fact, I guess in a way, it's published by Simple Programmer, and that's what we're, and so we're actually putting that on the back, and it looks. But so we did a 99 designs competition. Like it'll end up costing us like $800 or so, but well worth it. It is so many concepts, so much better. Yeah. Like we've got a lot of choices that are like very, very professional looking, looks like a bestseller type of, book that what you would pick up on, Barnes and Noble or whatever. That's
we've got about 20 designs at this point, any of which I'd be pretty happy with.
Yeah, it's funny. My friend Dougie, who's launching a book, he posted on Facebook his 99 design competitions, and when I looked at it, I was so jealous. I was like, man, we got to just do a 99 designs competition because he had so many good choices on there. So we bit the bullet. Yeah, like I said, the other designer, it wasn't that they were like horribly bad, but the thing is, like, we always end up going to 99 designs, and I'll tell you why. It's because they are a sponsor. No,
we should.
We really should, because we use them so much. In fact, maybe we should reach out to them, Josh, and say, hey, look, we use you for a lot of stuff with Simple Programmer. But the reason why we always go back to 99 designs is because you get so much variety in, like, if you just hire one designer, they could be really good, but you don't get to see the range in all these different concepts. Like they can only come up with so many concepts, but when you get like 60 people submitting concepts, like you can kind of see because you don't know what you don't. That's the thing. The hardest thing I think in design is, like, designers always ask me, like, well, what do you want it to look like? And like, I have no fucking clue. Just like show me a bunch of awesome stuff and I'll tell you what I like.
Well, we got that from this designer. So we were like, it was kind of funny because we went through like 3 rounds of revisions. And so we were like, we started with the first. So the first thing, she sent us a questionnaire. So I sent her the manuscript, the entire manuscript. I sent her our business cards, our t-shirt design, the website itself. I sent her a dozen book covers that we liked, and answered some other questions about the audience and stuff. And then after 3 rounds, we were kind of still like not really feeling it. They were like, well, we need more guidance. I'm like, what do you want? Do you want me to like take out Photoshop and like design something and send it to you? Like, what do you, I don't know how to give you any more guidance than I've given you. So, but yeah, the thing about 99 Designs too is that there's a positive selection bias. So your contest will probably get looked at by 1,000 people, right. And probably only 20 of those people will enter, and it'll be people that actually had an interesting idea when they saw your contest.
Yeah.
So you're getting like the 1 or 2% of people who actually felt inspired by the topic, versus like if you just pick one designer, you're probably the odds are 98% that you're not going to get somebody who's going to be excited about it.
Yep. Well, the other thing that I've seen is just the way that they put together the contests on 99 Designs. They ask you for a lot of the stuff, like which of these do you like, and that's something that I really appreciate, because then I can just go in and I can say I like all this stuff, and some of them are highly derivative, so it's like, okay, you just did what they had, and okay, whatever. Right. But the flip side of that is that a lot of people will look at that and then give you something interesting that plays off of a few of them, and you get so many options. And I can go in and I can say I don't like the color, or you know what, I don't really like this, or I'd like a little bit more of this element in it, and because I just got a redesign for the devchat.tv logo.
Yeah.
And it was that kind of a thing, right? And it was okay, well, what are we looking at here, and how do we make this turn into something that I like? So I've been super happy with 99 Designs.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna try something interesting when we get down to like the last 3 to 5 covers that we really like. We're gonna try to have a range that look very, very different, and then we're gonna run Facebook ads for all of them and try to gauge the interaction, the engagement. And we're gonna run it to cold traffic, so it'll be the closest thing we can get to an Amazon like thing. While and we're gonna keep, so the ads will be like super basic. They're gonna look exactly the same as each other, and the only difference will be the cover that we include. Yeah. And so it'll just be like probably just the title of the book and the image and the book cover. And we'll be able to, so probably I'm gonna guess that like we'll test 5 and we won't really see, I'm not thinking, I don't know, we'll see. I don't know if we're gonna see a huge difference between them. The one that I'm kind of expecting to win would be one with a photo on it, so that'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting to see, because I think we prefer ones without the photo on it, because it's like you get more of the text, and so it's easier to see and read it. But I bet you're right, Josh. I bet that people will prefer. I have an idea of which one will win based on that.
Is it a photo of John, or just a?
Yeah, it would be a photo of John.
Okay.
Yep.
Just some random dude.
Yeah.
Some random dude on steroids.
Yeah.
We're also gonna test. We're also gonna poll our audience. So what I'll be curious to see, I'm betting you, John, that people will say they like one, and there will be like a clear runaway favorite in terms of what people say they like, and that won't be the one that gets the highest engagement rates on the Facebook ads.
Facebook. Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, because the audience. Well, there's a lot of things that influence that. One is just our branding. Like, people have seen our colors and logo and simple programmer, right, that are in our audience. 2 is, again, the image. Like, if we're using one with my face on it, right, that's going to be, people are in our audience are probably going to respond more to that, or less. I don't know. Like, that'll affect something. So.
Well, asking people what they like versus measuring what they actually respond to is always interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
They often don't line up.
Yeah. So, it'll be interesting, because some of it too is like you have sometimes things that are not as aesthetically pleasing, but they create a higher response. So someone might they might like say, I like this better. But on the other hand, like that super bright green font is what they actually clicked on, and and that's what they ended up buying. So that's but there has to be a balance. I think like we could do the thing that is the most attention getting, but then we would lose the aesthetic. So I think there's a balance between like you picking covers that are all of them they've already passed the aesthetic test. We like them. They're aesthetically pleasing, so they look good. And then of those, then it's which one actually elicits the greatest response, which may not be the one that we think is most aesthetically pleasing, but then we'll at least know that we have something that looks good. Because just because you could make something that would be more of an attention grabber, you still want to have something you're proud of at the end of the day.
Lime green.
Yeah.
Lime green and purple.
There you go.
So it'll be real interesting though. But I'm super happy with, like, I feel like we've got choices now that are better than 95% of covers that you see out there in the wild, like even of non-technical books. So
I agree.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy.
You just put an animal and some the title and author's name on there, and
a werewolf. No, not a werewolf. Sorry, a Wolverine. We need a Wolverine on the cover.
Honey badger.
Yeah, honey badger. There we go.
Unicorn. There you go.
Yes.
I should put a unicorn on my book cover.
The only problem with 99 Designs though is I'll tell you this, is that it's just so much work on your part, because you have to go through and you have, like, if you want a good result, you have to like tell people, you have to put comments on all the stuff and rate them. But if you're willing to do that, and I feel like I'm getting better at that now. Like when I first did design, contest, that I wasn't as
the first one we did together, John, I think it was the business cards. I remember a lot more. John and I both sat there and clicked through a lot more designs. Now John's pretty ruthless. He's like, nope. Okay, we'll keep that one.
It basically like, if it's I think the key is, like I said, is you give the feedback as much as possible. And if you know that design isn't going to make it, then you just cut it. Like if you know that there's something better, unless it provides such a creative element that's so different than the other ones that it's worth keeping around just for the creative element. But you know that it's not going to be the winner, but you might like utilize the idea for give direction. So yeah, I'm pretty ruthless with the cuts now.
Nice.
But it should be a good result.
So I know you guys are doing a different thing for the launch for this, but I'm trying to figure out launch sequence at this point for my book and video course.
Well, what do you have? Do you have the book done?
Not quite yet. Guess what I'm doing next week?
That's step one in the launch sequence. Honestly, like I wouldn't even worry about launch sequence until you have the book done. I mean, you can probably get away with the video course later. That's what we're doing with the launch for this. So,
but we're not going to sell the video course yet.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Chuck,
an interesting idea.
You're not putting the book on Amazon, right? This is going to be just on your site.
Yeah.
So we're talking more of a regular product launch here.
Yeah. And just to give you an idea, so this is what I got sucked into and why we started late, is that Jamie put out a challenge that May is sales, and we need to go beyond our comfort zone. So I picked a number that I felt like was astronomical. Here, let me actually let me share this link here real quick.
$5 billion.
Anyone with the link? There we go. Can view it. Copy link. There we go. So anyway, so I decided, okay, well, what's a crazy number for me to try and hit in sales in May? And I came up with a crazy number of $75,000.
Nice. So that's including sponsorships,
conferences, and launching the product.
Okay.
And so then I just put in like what my capacity was, like if I got all of these things done, you know, what I thought I could accomplish. So, you know, the conferences, if I sell 100 tickets to Ruby and Newbie conferences, 50 to the Angular conference, and then, you know, I filled all of my sponsorship spots that are available through the end of June. And then I need to adjust that. But then I also launched the products and sold 20 of the Get a Job product. And then part of the Get a Job product, just because I get asked it a lot, is how to stay current. And so I'm going to spin out a smaller product that's that. But I'm probably just going to focus on the Get a Job stuff. I had a few people in my beta pay for it because I said I'd do the keep current stuff. So I have to do it. But anyway, so if I do all that and I sell 20 of each of those products, the number at the bottom of the spreadsheet is $147,000. But I don't know if I can necessarily fill all of my sponsor spots, and I don't know how realistic it is necessarily to, you know, to pull off some of this stuff. But any of these on their face is doable. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I get there? You know, do I do a product launch for the book? I'm going to be selling my face off, obviously, for, you know, sponsors.
That's, I mean, for the book, you're talking for next month.
Let's say that I do the launch, and have it go out like at the end of May.
So if you did the end of May, I mean, you could aim for the last week in May for the launch, but you're going to have to, I mean, you don't have to necessarily have the product finished.
Right.
It would probably get, I mean, you could launch it as a pre-sell, or as like, it'll be out in 10 days, something like that. If you have to meet this goal. But you do have to create a sales page, email sequences, right? I mean, that's all doable, but how big is your list?
About 12,000.
Okay, so that's a pretty decent. And your price point would be what, $200, $300?
So I was looking at doing the book and the videos for about $1,500.
Oh, for $1,500.
Yeah.
So at that price point, I think you need more than a book and videos.
You think so?
Yes, definitely. I think it needs to have
a community. Like a Slack channel, or
so yeah, some kind of like live implementation help.
Okay.
So like last fall I did that, how to start, you know, how to create and launch your course, and I think that was around 3,000, but they had like live hand-holding coaching, and like I would meet with my coach, I think, once a week.
Okay.
So basically, I'm trying to think, basically almost anything the marketing niche, they tend to be able to charge more, but like anything over $500 or $1,000 has some kind of coaching and implementation component to that. Like Brian Harris's 10K subs would be a good one to look at. He's got a lot of like accountability and help built into that. And you can automate some aspects of it, but I would, like, if it was going to be something like that, I would position it as like a 10-week course or something, and then have objectives for each week, and then have some kind of check-in or office hours or something like that. So it's not that way. It's because a 10-week course, like, one way that you can add perceived value is to deliver the content over time,
right?
Versus like an information dump, because this way you can pace it and you give people time to implement it.
Okay.
And then you also, like, the accountability thing is huge, because a lot of people, this is definitely for me, my biggest concern now is not the money itself, because I generally have the money if it's important to me. My concern is, do I trust myself to actually not just waste all this money?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so if you've got accountability built into it, then that helps. I think a lot of people in our market are probably kind of more in that boat that I just described than they are pinching pennies and worrying about the cost.
Right.
Yeah, I'd say at that price point, you have to position yourself in this industry to compete, to be, you have to position yourself against college courses or boot camp courses, right? That's your, at that price point, you want to be able to say, like, if you went to a community college or if you went to a university and got this program. So again, that speaks to what Josh was saying, like a 10 or a 12-week program, because that's how long a semester is, right?
Yeah.
So
you could start it at 4 weeks, but I mean, like, it should definitely be spaced out over time. And that actually could take, if basically what I would do, because I know I've struggled with product creation and getting stuff done, right? So with this, you have to, if you're going to do this, I would have a pretty good idea of what all those weeks are going to be about. Like plan out the objectives. And then I would probably deliver each week as a webinar. And you could do those live.
Essentially, be that pre-recorded video or a webinar that's live or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. I wouldn't try and launch a $1,500 product in a month though, like, and create it. I feel like that's something that, like, a $1,500 product, you want to spend 3 months, 6 months developing and really having a solid, because I mean, it will suck if you do a launch for this and you sell like 2 or 3 copies, which at a $1,500 price point, that certainly can happen. If you sell something at a $200 price point or $300 price point or $100 price point, you're definitely going to, like, with a 12,000 person list, even if you botch it, I mean, completely, you're going to sell 50 copies, right? Like, it's like you're going to have some results there. So
Brian Harris did that with his, I think he's launched it at like 300 or maybe 500. Like, I did my course last fall at 500 and I sold, I think, 20 or 21 seats to a list of about 2,000 to 2,400.
Okay.
So
let's say that I bring it down then and sell. I mean, how do I package it? At $200 or $500.
Then it can just be a book in video, and and you could always expand on that later if it's popular. And make it $1,500
so you could go that route, or you could do what we just talked about. And like what I did with mine was I positioned it, this is a beta. I'd like to maybe someday do a bigger course around this topic. This is a beta. And I actually capped the enrollment. I set the enrollment cap to like have a small number, but a number that I thought was at the edge of what I could hit, if that makes sense. And I pretty much nailed it, actually. I don't think I could have really sold more than I did. Anyway, so like basically it was like 1% of my list for a $500 product.
Yep. Well, I can tell you that the people who are in the beta right now paid $300 a piece.
Okay. So, and you did, that was basically like live coaching, right?
Yeah, it's essentially live coaching plus, I send them a couple hours of videos every week. And, I've been writing some stuff up. So I sent them like a questionnaire and I'm like, look, fill this out because it'll help you figure out what job you want to have. And then, and then it was like, here's how you research companies to figure out if they're the kind of company you want to work for.
Great. So how long was this program then?
10 weeks.
10 weeks.
Well, it was 8 weeks with me being gone for 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, this is pretty much, can you just polish what you have here? Like, what about what you already have here is not?
So the videos are really rough.
Okay. You could just
got on and just basically talked to the camera and said, look, I'm kind of brain dumping here. It's not highly organized, but it has all the information in it.
Have you gotten any feedback from your existing customers?
So far, they like what I've given them. Some of them are really enthusiastic and others of them are, they're like, well, I don't have time for some of this right now.
That's normal.
So,
so I would say get feedback on the on how you can improve what you have from the people
Uh-huh.
that have already gone through it,
Yep.
and then iterate that
Yep.
and launch it. And you have like the basic program already. So you go back in, you put a little more polish on the videos. Maybe you smooth out some rough edges of, maybe you could have sequenced things a little better or something like that. And then just relaunch that.
Yeah. And don't even worry about, like, don't write a book unless you're going to put it on Amazon. It just, writing a book doesn't make any sense. It's like the worst investment of time possible for money.
The only thing useful about it, the main thing useful about it, is a way to organize your thoughts.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like and webinars are a good way to do that too. So
it's amazing how easy video is versus book. And book takes so much more time, and you get so little money in comparison to just like, you could literally record a video course in one day and sell it for $100 or $200. But if you write a book that takes you 6 months, pushing a $10 price point is difficult.
Yep.
So
I've considered like self-publishing and putting it on Amazon. I just don't know what all is involved there and whether or not it's worth the effort.
I mean, based on your goal, like of doing this launch like next month, forget the book part. That's too much. Just do the video part. Do what Josh said, like take the feedback and revise the program and have a video component. I mean, you could have some bonuses. You can have transcripts. You can have stuff like that. You can have a workbook or something like that. Those are all good. Like, you can think of stuff like that. But I mean, if you want to create the book, it's cool. Create the book, but do that as don't expect to have that launch next month. And if you do create the book, if you're going to go through all the effort to create the book, then go through, I mean, you could get it traditionally published. It's not a bad idea. Like, if you write the book and then shop it around, if I were going traditional published route this time, I would certainly write the book first and shop it around and say that I have this audience and get a better deal and rate on it. And then it is good to have a published book. I mean, it does build a certain amount of notoriety. But if you self-publish it, then just go for the volume and the exposure on Amazon. Like, you got to have the like, the question really you have to ask yourself is, why are you writing this book? And I think only really 3 valid reasons. One is because I have to write this book because it's in me and it has to come out. And this is like my love. I must produce this baby. And the second one is I need the calling card. I want the I want the fame, the notoriety, the level of professionalism.
It's really cool credibility. Yeah.
And the third one is I want reach. I want leads. I just want to get branding out there. The fourth one that doesn't exist is I want to make money. that's there's no sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
So Chuck, I think if you relaunch this at $500, especially if you get some good testimonials, do some video testimonials, do a video interview, where, like a webinar where you talk to people who've gone through the course already, and maybe go through teach part of it. I think you could probably realistically sell at least 1% of your list on a $500 product.
Right.
Yep.
That seems realistic to me.
So the other question I have is, about half of the people in the beta are not they're not logging into Slack.
That's
so I don't know if they're getting the content.
Yeah.
So I think I'm probably going to email them and kind of rattle the cage a little bit.
I'm not going to say who this is, but I talked to somebody who sells an extremely expensive multi-$1,000 course that's 12 weeks long. And the number of people that they track these metrics because they actually care about student success, which is, I guess it's a pretty good thing. Yeah. So multi-$1,000 course, they have, I forget the number exactly. Some percentage of people never even log in. It's like 20 or 30% or more of people never even log into the course content. And then only 7% actually go all the way through the 12 weeks and produce the result that they signed up to achieve.
Right.
So that's completely normal. And it's good. It's good to, I think it's really good to track that and work to improve it. Cause there are things you can do, but ultimately people have to, find they have to have the motivation to begin with.
Yeah, it's like trying to, again, it's the whole gym thing. It's like it's nice to open up a gym and be like, oh, I'm going to get people in shape, but you know what? You sell a lot of memberships, but you can't make someone run on the treadmill. It's just it's not, like as much as as beautiful as you make it, as wonderful as support that you provide, it's so.
Yep.
But that's fine. But you got to sell to that, realizing that that's the case.
Yeah, you're still changing lives. You got to realize that you're not changing every life
right
that comes through your door. So
no, that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, one thing, Josh, just before I forget, I when I was talking to Manny, we went for a run. He surprised the shit out of me. Normally, sometimes people are like, they want to go for a run with me because they want to, pick my brain or something. And so like I go for a run and like after 4 miles they drop off. Right. He ran the whole 9 miles, like, and nice. He had no problem.
Is he a runner?
He says he runs about 20 miles a week. So
okay. All right.
So technically. Anyway, he was talking about how he has his courses in a membership site. Because he's asking what we were using for membership. And I was like, yeah, we just have them download the course. Like there's really not a huge benefit there. I mean, sure, it'd be a nice to, but but you know what he said, which totally sold me on it, is he said that he's got the membership area. And when people log in to the membership area, they see the other courses that they don't have yet.
Yeah, so we've talked about this before. That's how Gymnastic Bodies is set up the same way.
Yeah.
So you log in. I mean, like it's killing me. Like there's like 3 or 4 more courses that I'm in no way ready for, but like I see them locked and it bugs me. When
yeah, so we eventually probably want to move to that with Simple Programmers, have our courses and again, like the locks you said, but it finally like clicked, like when he put it that way. I was like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense from an advertising
free
standpoint.
Marketing. Yeah. It's especially powerful. What we really need to do with our courses is get them we've been talking, so that they're delivered over time. Because when people are constantly coming back to that site, and that's the seeing the other stuff there, when they're actually in like a one-time shot, they just go in, they watch it. That's not as compelling. But if it gets dripped out to them every day over a 30-day period or something, and they're in there a lot, then it gets to be.
And it needs to be a skill tree. It needs to be like, how we talked about how like the different areas of your life, but like little branches, and like, this is the advance and you progress down this branch, because like that'll totally hit our audience, because Final Fantasy, JRPG, or gaming kind of level up thing, that'll totally hit it. And you have locks on there. You have to, do this course or, or something like that. But
I love it.
I know,
by the way, Josh, I hate you now.
Why is that?
I want carbs.
Oh,
are you? Oh yeah, you're doing the keto. Yeah.
Yeah, I started it on Monday.
There you go.
Okay, well then you've lasted pretty well, pretty good.
My family had pizza last night.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
you just look at it and it's like.
I had a birthday party last weekend that I was at, so I definitely feel your pain.
Yeah. My wife, we're having the family over for dinner on Sunday, and she's like, "What can I make for you?" I'm like, "Don't worry about me, just make something."
Yeah. If I explain it, it will be too complicated. So.
Well, the issue is mostly it's like, well, because she wants to make this rice thing, and I'm just like,
"Oh yeah,
go ahead." But
rice is keto, right?
Yeah, sure.
I may put some in my mouth and then spit it out.
I have to say though that I was kind of expecting this to be hard, and like the cravings are hard, but like
so
it's reasonably not hard to like. Okay, I can eat some of this and I can eat some of that.
Yeah, it's like the main things I had trouble with initially were like figuring out what I could eat that didn't have too much protein in it.
Right.
Because that's tough. Because pretty much anything aside from coconut oil, which I get currently, I'm getting about probably half my daily calories from coconut oil. But yeah, pretty much anything that's not straight fat like that is going to have a lot of protein in it too. So that's kind of tricky. But so the second week sometimes can be harder. So just brace yourself for that.
Yeah.
But one thing that you might have that I've heard from several people is you start to have dreams. Like John's had this too. I've had dreams where like I accidentally ate 2.5 donuts. And then like I realize I'm like eating the third, halfway through the third donut. Oh crap! I'm not supposed to eat this.
It's basically that dream where you go outside your house without wearing pants, right?
Yeah.
Except that it's the same feeling, except you just like drank a Coke or like ate a donut or like bit a piece of bread or something. You're like, oh, what have I done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one other thing that I'm wondering is, well, we should just talk about this offline because I don't think people really care about keto diet. Anyway, yeah, it's been pretty interesting so far.
Are you testing? You're testing your blood?
I
meter or
the strips are kind of expensive, so I've been testing like every few days.
Okay.
So I need to test again today.
It'll probably take at least I would say it's going to take you probably close to 2 weeks to really get into a decent level, maybe a little longer. So
well, I'm also trying to figure out like what number or numbers indicate ketoacidosis or ketosis. My dad freaked out about ketoacidosis, and I'm like,
no. That's like 3 times more ketones than we're talking about. So
yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, funny related stories. So since you're talking about the diet, I was coming back from my run yesterday, and I'm walking by these 2 ladies that are walking down the street, and I said something. I don't remember. I said something, and then one of the ladies was like, "You have a sexy body," and I was like, "Thank you." She's like, "Thank you for having a sexy body." And I was like, "Oh, thanks for noticing." She's like, "Oh, everyone notices. Just most people don't have the balls to say something." I was like, oh, and you know what? What the funny thing is, because I talked about this a long time ago on one of the Entre Programmers episode. I said there's like this percentage of body fat where you get down below, and they just like night and day switch. Yes, like the day before yesterday, I felt I had reached that. Right, I was like, nice. I've hit that switch, and then bam, it just so there is that kind of weird switch where it's like all of a sudden
that's really interesting.
Yeah, it seems to be right around like the 9% body fat area, at least for me. I mean, I guess it probably depends on different people, but for me, it's like 9%. Like if I'm above 9%, totally like the responses. Yeah, yeah, dad bod. That's
nice. So Chuck, my sponsorship work is starting to pay off. Well, it hasn't paid off in cash yet, but I'm getting some traction with it. So I reached out to Redgate actually. So I basically I wanted to crack Redgate because they advertised in one of people. What's that?
I don't even know who that is.
Oh really?
They need to be What the heck?
Yeah.
They're not doing a good job. Then what the hell?
So they make really good. I use their they make really good tooling for .NET and SQL. So that's probably why you haven't heard of them.
Okay.
I used their tools when I worked at my first real programming job to debug this. We had this ASP.NET web app that would just arbitrarily fall over about every 6 hours. And somebody had to like reboot the server or something. It was ridiculous. So they have a memory profiler tool, and I used that to try to figure out what the heck was going on with this app. And anyway, I saw that tool advertised in one of Peter Cooper's newsletters. So I reached out. So I went to Redgate I looked them up on LinkedIn, found everybody related to marketing, like with marketing in their title, threw them into BlueTick, which I'm loving, and basically just started reaching out to them one at a time. So I connected with them
into BlueTick. Don't you need their email address?
Yeah, but you get that when you connect on LinkedIn.
Okay, so once they accepted your connection request.
Yeah, so I think I connected to like 12 people. I think 8 of them accepted, and then I put all of them into BlueTick, and then I just started going through and adding them one at a time into an outreach sequence. And then like the third person that I put in there responded to me and told me who I needed to talk to. And so now I've been talking to this lady, and she seems somewhat interested. I've given her the media kit. She seems somewhat interested. She wants to know like how much of our audience uses like SQL on a daily basis. So we're actually yesterday when I talked to you about that, and then I threw together a quick poll, and I'm polling our audience to figure out. And it seems like so far about 42% of people are saying they use SQL regularly, so they'd be a good fit for this tool. So and that's just one company. So I've hired somebody on Fiverr to go and basically get me the same data on a bunch of other people that do other companies that do sponsorships, and I'm going to do the same process with them and just throw them into BlueTick. And I came up with a nice little sequence in BlueTick where it's like, first one is like, thanks for connecting on LinkedIn, and then I forget the exact sequence, but I have like 4 emails that I send them. Oh yeah, I asked them like who at your company handles sponsorships and advertising, and then I'll just kind of keep following up with them until they crack, until somebody cracks. So
funny story.
Yeah.
I have this guy in Philippines that does work for me, and so I've had him going and finding companies that sponsor podcasts, and then I'm going to have him go in and do the same thing, right? And I've actually been adding people on my own in LinkedIn because, I figured out how to get their email addresses. I was just a little bit, you said that you were just adding them into BlueTick, and I'm like, how do you do that with LinkedIn? So so you get them to connect with you, and then you add them to you.
Yeah, and it's actually going to be lower quality because people use like their Hotmail address for LinkedIn,
right?
But the lady that responded to me was a Gmail address.
Yep.
And if you do a little research, you can find their work address.
Yep.
Yep.
So you can kind of figure out. You can figure out the convention that the company uses, and then you can guess what their name would be. And there are tools out there where you can plug in an email address, and it'll ping their mail server and tell you if it's valid.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yep.
So I've done that with a couple people too.
Yeah. The other thing that, anyway, you were just basically describing the same thing that I've been doing. So I signed up for BlueTick yesterday, and I'm moving off of Contextually. And it was funny because I told Shandy that, I was looking at BlueTick, and she's like, just give me access, because I don't think
you've already switched on her
either.
Yeah.
So anyway, so she's like, I'll move everything. I'll make sure everything is moved off of 17 Hats and Contextually and into BlueTick, and then you can just cancel them. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah. So BlueTick, my impressions from last week haven't really changed. It's really good. It's still pretty rough. There's a lot of features that are not there yet, but I basically it does what I need it to do. So this week I decided to send out to all of our, I have about 25 people right now who I've talked to about sponsorship. I went through my Gmail and pulled everybody in, and everybody that I'd talked to about sponsorship over the last few months. And so it's about 25 people. And I went back now, everybody, I just sent out an email today offering to send an updated copy of our media guide or our media kit, which I just updated a month ago with all the latest stats. So it just gives me a good opportunity to like touch base, and it's not salesy at all. It's just like, hey, we have updated. I want you to have the latest info on file. And it gives me another chance to touch base. So I'll probably do that quarterly, and then I'll probably touch base with these same people about once a month, I think. So
I'm looking at the same kind of thing.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, because once you have, like, you just keep on growing that pool, and once you have
exactly
a bit, then you'll get to the point eventually where you do, like, there'll be more demand than there is availability. Like, you'll always be able to fill up, and you'll just have a system for doing it. So, and then someone can just take it over.
Yeah, and this exact, I mean, for people listening, like, we're talking about sponsorships, but this is basically just high touch, high value sales. And anybody, if you're a freelancer, or you have any kind of consulting thing, you do it all. This is exactly what, this is a great way to prospect, instead of just, randomly firing off emails at people.
Exactly. This would be the exact strategy, like, that a real estate agent also would be super successful at doing.
Yep.
In fact, the super successful real estate agents, that's the only reason why they're super successful, is that they've been doing this for years. And so they just have such a depth of people that they can always, drum up business.
And they've been good at, the one thing that, like, most real estate agents meet 1 million people and never follow up with any of them. That's why almost no one is successful in real estate. So
but I'm trying to just make it work. I'm doing exactly what you're doing. Well, almost exactly what you're doing. So yeah, if I can get that kind of movement here, then I can just drop them into contextually. I'm thinking though that I'm also going to, it'll do the initial outreach, like we set up in contextually, and then if that doesn't work out, and this is the thing that sold me on BlueTick, was that if somebody does sign up for an appointment, then I can just Zapier them off of that sequence and into where they need to be. But the other thing is that I basically have 3 starter funnels now, and one of them is former sponsors. One of them is people I've talked to in person, or so people that I've already talked to that have been interested in sponsoring, and then the last group is the cold group. But anyway, so the sequences are slightly different, and then if they don't fill in that form, then essentially my plan is to drop them into a nurture sequence that goes out, every few days, and just says, hey, a lot of people have these ideas about sponsorships, and this is what I'm doing that's different. And so, it'll basically say, look, you pretty much understand what a podcast sponsorship entails, right? We read the thing and put banners on the website. But, here are the other things that I consider part of podcast sponsorship. So we can do joint venture webinars. We can do email. You can sponsor us on the email list. And so that way, it can talk through all the different options and talk through some of the benefits of each one. And that way at the end, hopefully they'll have an idea of what they want to do. And then if that doesn't sell them, then the next stage is basically a walkthrough of how to make the most of a podcast sponsorship. So, if you have an existing funnel and you understand who needs to come into it, things like that. And so I'll send them through both of those nurture sequences. And then if they don't bite after that, then I'll just follow up periodically and ask them if they had any questions, or if there's anything I can help them with, or anyone they're trying to connect to, or anything like that. Because if I offer to help them and I can pay off just by being a connection, then that opens a lot of doors.
Nice. Yep.
So that's the plan there.
Yep. Yeah, this gives you the ability to follow up and offer service. So I really enjoy this. I'm actually having a ton of fun talking to this lady at Redgate. I really enjoy like the one-on-one, not sales, but like consultative sales. It's fun.
Yep.
Oh, so I do have a couple of things on the selling the digital distribution front. I reached out to DPD.
Oh yeah,
to offer to pay them money to build a feature, and actually got an email. I've got to respond to it from Jacob Kobe, one of the founders, the lead developer there, and he wants to talk. So
oh sweet.
So we might have that as an option. So if that's the case, we'll have to see. I know Adrian had said that he was willing to pay some money, and we're willing to pay some money. So that might be an interesting solution there. The other thing is that when I was talking to Manny, he said that he's using ClickFunnels, and he said that they do support full page upsells and one-time offers and one-click upsells.
Yeah, they do. ClickFunnels. Okay, you have to think of ClickFunnels as basically a glorified.
Are you guys using ClickFunnels or the Thrive equivalent?
No, we're using Zaxa.
Oh, okay.
ClickFunnels is basically like a glorified Thrive, John. So
yeah,
it's basically like a way to link together. Like it gives you a little workflow designer to link together pages, but it's not really a shopping cart in the sense that you have products. Like they don't even give you a way to deliver. You can create a membership site, which is what Manny has done.
Right, exactly.
But you can't deliver a product.
No, unless you just give them like a URL that's unsecured. Yeah, but if you go the membership site route, they do have so that's a possibility.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that were using it for that had dropped off of it.
Yeah,
that gave up on it. So.
Well, we'll see. We've got a few irons in the fire. I mean, I think the DPD thing could be promising. And then I think, did you have that meeting with?
Yeah, I met with a guy we met at MicroConf, who's a WooCommerce developer, and it went pretty well. I sent him like a video walkthrough of what we want, and he's supposed to get back to us with some kind of pricing. So,
yep.
And then
by the way, your WordPress guy never got back to me. So
WordPress.
Because I asked you who customized Performag for you.
Oh, Lewis. Lewis. He's probably listening. Now he'll get back to you.
Yeah. Hey, you never got back to me about DHH. So, hey.
Yeah.
I was going to do that yesterday. I got sidetracked.
This is the starred emails portion of Entreprogrammers.
Yeah. That's fine. Yeah, this is the portion where you give a shout out to someone who hasn't gotten back to you.
Yeah,
it's like misconnections in Craigslist. It's like
I was at a board meeting for the kids' school, and yeah, I sent myself like 3 emails to remind me to add stuff to next month's agenda. Yeah. They're like, "How are you going to remember that?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Email."
Nice.
So yeah.
So I am in an hour. I'm interviewing Noah Kagan for some programmer. So yeah,
awesome. Cool. On YouTube or?
Yeah, on YouTube. Yep. And actually, I got a Manny has hooked me up with an interview with MJ DeMarco, which is a Millionaire Fastlane guy.
Oh, so nice.
That'll be cool. Yeah.
Nice.
It's so much easier to get interviews now.
He's resonated with a lot of people on our list, it seems like.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that'll be good. That'll be a good interview also for the passive income, the whole entrepreneurship.
Yep.
All right, shall we do our thoughts?
Yes.
One other.
Sorry.
Go ahead. I was going to say one other thing. One other slight update. I am in the process of hiring a personal stylist, a professional image consultant. So I've been going through that process. It's pretty interesting going there because I want to take Simple Programmer up to the next level. So this will be a fun experiment. I'll let you guys know how it goes.
I want to see. Basically, John have a conversation with them where they go, "Don't talk about Donald Trump," and then he gives them this book. You're fired.
Exactly.
Nice.
Okay, that's all I got. Go for it.
So I have a thought. This is something that John has expressed a few times. By the way, first of all, I've been doing also in addition to the keto diet, the Miracle Morning, which has been awesome.
Oh, Hal Elrod.
Yeah, Hal Elrod. Yeah, just loving it. Anyway, one of the things that came out, I'm not sure where I heard or read it, if it was part of that book or something else, because I've consumed a whole lot of stuff over the last week or two. But somebody said, how you do anything is how you do everything. And it really kind of struck me, I'm like, I kind of half-ass a lot of things. And how I do, and it really resonated with me too. It's like, yeah, and then I justify half-assing something else, because, oh, well, I can slack off here, no consequences. So I'll slack off there, no consequences. And you know what? I'm just not living up to my potential. I mean, this spreadsheet that I shared with you guys, honestly, if I did everything that was on that spreadsheet, and I even adjusted the numbers for like lower priced courses, I mean, that's still $100,000 in a month.
Yeah.
Or maybe 2 months if I do this launch in June. But it's like, look, I slack off on this stuff because nobody's holding me accountable but me. And when it really comes down to it, no, how I do anything, it's practice for slacking off in other places, because if I can justify it in one area, then I can justify it in another area. Yep. And so, yeah, it's working out, I'm going to be disciplined. Working, reading my scriptures, because that's something else that I've slacked off on, and it's something that I feel like I need to do. And so if there are any of these things, it's okay, well, I need to be coding on a regular basis because it reflects in the podcasts. And so, I got disciplined and I scheduled a time this afternoon for it to happen. My office has been a complete disaster. It's still kind of half a disaster. But again, it's like I've just been making excuses. I'm too busy to clean it. Not anymore. I can't allow myself to slack off on those areas because it's inconsistent with the person that I want to be. And if I can't do everything at a 10 or a 9.5, at my top performance, then I need to figure out what I can cut in order to be able to do everything at top level. And so that's kind of where I've come around to. So, no more snoozing in the morning. I'm getting up at 5 a.m. and I'm doing my miracle morning. I'm spending time on cleaning my office every day. I'm committing to working on this product every day. And all of these things is, if I slack off in one space, then I am essentially setting myself up to be okay with slacking off in other spaces. So anyway.
Yep, I definitely 100% agree with everything you said there.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just for me, it's it's all in. And if I can't be all in, then I need to figure out how important it is to me and what to get rid of.
You either have all your shit together or you have none of your shit together. There's no in between.
Yeah. So I'm getting it together, but it's like, look, I'm doing everything I can for it right now.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, one thing I realized again this week is, I guess to make this more general, I would say it's important to know like what really like lights you up and what you really enjoy, and to not get away from that. So for example, so back before I got into like programming even, I was unemployed for 6 months. And one of the ways that I filled my time was I learned how to make handmade straight razors. And I think I've talked about this before, but I turned it into a little online business where I would make these razors in my garage, and I was selling them online for like $300 each. And it was fun. And I was really, really enjoying it. And then I got approached by an online store that wanted to basically be the exclusive distributor of my razors. And so suddenly, and I thought, it would be great to not have to mess with all the customers and the back and forth and, and just streamline this whole thing. So I signed up with them and I made a few razors, and I realized that I no longer enjoyed it because I did not have as much as the contact with customers could be annoying. That was actually what made it fulfilling for me. And once I got away from that, I no longer enjoyed the process. And so, for me, I like this, the sponsorship stuff that I've been doing has been pushing those same buttons, because I've been able to work. I really enjoy working one-on-one with people and like kind of getting to know their specific situation, what their goals are, and then trying to find, creative ways that I can help them. Like that, for me, that is the most fulfilling thing that I've found. And so sponsorship is one way that I can have that right now. And so it's something for me, I really need to keep that in mind and not try to get away from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, it's true. You've always got to have that, at least that one thing. Like, that's why it's easy for me to do the YouTube, because that's something that really is that I'm
exactly
lit up about.
Yep.
So I was trying to think. I've got a couple of different ones. I think that the one I'm going to select today is based on a lot of kind of dovetailing off of what Chuck said to go along with the theme, is that there's nothing that is difficult in life, and there's very little pain when you are constantly in the present moment or staying in the present moment, right? To get a little woo-woo out there. What I mean by that is, like, take for instance, for example, on Wednesday, I mean, I do a lot of hard shit, a lot of hard workouts and stuff, but on Wednesday, because I'm doing the marathon training, I basically had a 2-hour leg workout, like lifting, then I ate dinner, and then I ran 9 miles afterwards. So another 2 hours, right? And like, that seems a little bit insane, and but it didn't even, and I could have in the past said, oh, wow, oh, poor me, that's so hard, that's so crazy. But I've been very focused and practicing on and living in the present moment. And basically, I was thinking about it when I was running. I was like, okay, so when you're thinking about future things, that causes stress, and when you think about past things, it causes regret, and it makes you realize how hard it was. It's like, oh, I already ran so many miles, already did so much stuff. But when you're just at the present, you're like, what do I have to do at this very, very moment? Right? When I was running, I was realizing, like, okay, in this moment, I'm flying through the air, and this moment, my foot's on the ground. And this moment, I'm flying through the air, and this moment, my foot's on the ground. And that's all it is. And in any given moment, in order for me to continue running, all I have to do is move my foot, 1 foot forward. That's it. That's all I have to do. I can always do that. That's simple. There's no pain involved in that, and there's no difficulty. It's a simple thing, and there's no and it completely eliminates the difficulty, and it eliminates the pain, because pain can only really exist when you think about where you were and what you have left to do, right? And so the same thing, like in the gym lifting weights, it's like, I just have to do 1 rep. Can I not do 1 rep, right, at that present moment? But then it applies to work, right? It's the same thing. It's like, I have to send this 1 email, I have to write this 1 sentence, I have to do this 1 thing, right? It's so just changing that focus to, in this exact moment right now, forgetting about what I have to do, what I think is coming in the future, what I've done in the past, what do I need to do? And when you're there, there's not pain, there's not difficulty, there's not stress. It's just, you're just doing. So I think that's a real powerful it's something that I use a lot to be able to do some of the things that, again, with the fitness side, like, I think I do some pretty extreme stuff, but it's always for me about, what do I have to do? The focus and keeping my consciousness there, it makes it so that I can do a lot more than I would be able to do if I were living in the past and the future all the time.
Yeah. Just to kind of tack onto that, one thing is that David Allen, in Getting Things Done, he tells you to identify the next thing that you have to do.
Yep.
And
I was just thinking the same thing.
If you're feeling overwhelmed, just picking that next thing, and just making it a small thing really helps. And then the other thing is this fits into a plan, right? So you can write down all of the things that you have to do in order to accomplish whatever goal you have. But then you don't focus on the list, you just focus on that next thing, and it makes it a whole lot more manageable.
Exactly. It's that wearing the 2 hats, right? You've got the hat, the director hat and the worker hat. And it's like, you come up with the plan, right? You can't just be like moment to moment, but you come up with the plan. And then when it's execute plan time, you don't worry about results. You don't worry about how much work there is left. You just worry about, what is the next widget I need to put on the assembly line.
Yep.
All right. That's it for this week. Hopefully Derek will survive his camping trip, and
and
next week.
I want to hear how his I've seen in the Entre Programmers channel that there's relatively good things happening with his launch. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes.
One last thing, we didn't get very many signups on the. So I think we should probably advertise it one more time. If people want to join another Entreprogrammers group, you've seen the other Entreprogrammers group. It's entreprogrammers.com/apply. So go there, and we need to get at least 4 people, I think, in order to start up another group. I'm surprised we didn't, to be honest, but I don't see, unless I missed the signups. I'll have to check with Derek, but I would expect that we'd get at least 4. But there you go. Once we get enough,
do it, people.
Group. Yep.
You have to swear off carbs if you go there too. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty.
See you guys next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Wanna start a business, but you just know how to code. Listen to John, Josh, and Derek as we figure it out. We are the Entreprogrammers, and we'll teach you straight up to be developers.